Good morning, student. My name is Miss Manisha Borkar, Department of Fishery Science, NES Science College, Nanded. Now, today's we are going to start here the theory paper second. The name of paper is the type study of Wallgo attu. It is commonly called as a freshwater shark. Now today's we will going to start here the unit number 4th. The topic is male reproductive system. In previous lecture we will seen the female reproductive system as well as the excretory system here. We will seen here the male reproductive system. Now this male reproductive system, which will be consisting the following 5 important parts, we will put off here. We will see one by one here. The first one is a head kidney, then second one is a posterior kidney, up to that. Third one is a uterus, then the urinary bladder and the testes. We will see here one by one the male reproductive system. First one is a head kidney. Okay, the anterior kidney or the head kidney, which lies far away and unconnected with the posterior abdomen kidney. The non-excretory head kidney lies in front of the pericardium anterior to the air bladder. Okay, this head kidney, which is a non-excretory structures which are having the pericardium and which will present lies in front of the pericardium to the air bladder. Each head kidney is triangular convex on the dorsal side, which will flat on the central side and fuse with its fellow of the other side in the middle line. It consists of closely packed oval cells which poorly develop connective tissues and supplies with the blood capillaries and form vascularized the pseudolymphoid tissues here. Now here's the male urinogenital organs of Wallgo attu as well as the below the LS through anus and pseudocopulatory papillae here. Now these kidneys which are present in the paired form, which will having the head kidney as well as the posterior kidney. Okay, below that the head kidney, there is a abdominal muscles are present, and up to that abdominal muscles there will be the posterior kidney is present here. Okay, testes, this is a male reproductive organ, okay, which are in a paired form. Okay, these testes are a paired form. In that below there is a vasa difference is present. Then up to the below there is a pseudocopulatory papillae is present here. Okay, there is the anal opening of the male reproductive organ, that is we will call as a urinogenital pore. Okay, here's the posterior, below that the posterior kidney, ureter as well as the rectum is present, and up to the rectum below that the urinary bladder is present here. Now below the LS of that the pseudocopulatory papillae, anus, then the various genital as well as the urinary pores are present here. Now the urinary tubules and malphizian capsules are not present in the head kidney. Okay, a large number of rounded cavities which filled with deeply stained cells are scattered in the pseudolymphoid tissues. A few developed rounded bodies form of a compact mass of a oval cells are present at the periphery. It is not connected with the kidney proper except through the blood vessel. Okay, these head kidneys which are not connected to that the kidney, not connected to that the kidney, which having the except that the blood vessels. Then second one is a posterior kidney. Okay, there will be the location one by one is so present here, up to that head kidney to the posterior kidney. The posterior kidneys which lie behind the air bladder and are fused together to form a single mass. They lie in the abdominal cavity, just the vertebral column from the base of the liver to the posterior border of the abdomen, a little anterior to the anus. The head two kidneys which have a broad bilobe anterior part and are covered with a peritoneal covering of their ventral face. The anterior part is deeply grooved to lodge the hind end of the air bladder. Now the groove divides it into a dorsal and ventral part which extend over the upper and posterior surfaces of that the bladders. Now here's the this is the TS through the head kidney and posterior kidney. Okay, this is the TS of that the head as well as the posterior kidney. We will see here in a previous slides. Here's now the first diagram is a head kidney which having a non-vascular area as well as a compact mass of the cells. Here are various glomerulars are present here, then the blood cells are present. In that posterior kidney there is a malphizian capsules are present here, and in head kidney there is a glomerular cells are present. Then in that both are there is a blood cells are present here. In that the structure is like there is a urinous tubule like structure is present in that the posterior kidney which is urinoferous tubule. Okay, now the dorsal part will be well developed. The posterior kidney consists of a large number of urinary tubules in a pseudolymphoid tissues, malphizian capsules and the blood capillaries. Glomerulus like structures are formed by the malphizian capsules which have a flat scale like cells. The glomerular are pseudostructures being dangerate or the non-vascular. These vascular tufts are empty spaces are often meet within a place of a glomerular structure. The urinary tubules are lined with a single layer of a columnar glandular cells with a structureless basal membrane. Then the excessive development of a connective tissue has destroyed the glomerular and the urinary tubules. Okay, we will see in that diagram how the various lymphoid cells as well as the in that we will see in that diagram the glomerulars are present in the head kidney. Then up to that the head kidney to the posterior kidney. In that the posterior kidney we will see that there will be the malphizian capsules are present, and in both head kidney as well as the posterior kidney there will be the blood cells are present. Here's in that third one is a ureters. The ureters are a short and thick wall with narrow lumen and arise from the fuse posterior kidney. The continue posterior to the kidney receiving collecting tubules all along their course. Now the next one is a urinary bladder. The urinary bladder is formed from the distal parts of the rectum and the ureters. Its histology is like that of the rectum. Okay, it is thick wall which is dilated flask like a sac with a narrow neck or a duct distally. Its broad head lies to the right of the middle line, and its a neck which continues posteriorly to the end of the coelom. When it enters the pseudocopulatory papilla to open to the outside. Now the common ureter opens at the junction of the head and neck. Besides being an excretory organ, it also helps in osmoregulation. Okay, these urinary bladder will be in that head ureter which will opens in the head as well as a neck beside the excretory organ, and which will be this excretory organ which is useful to the osmoregulation. Now last one is that the testis. This is the reproductive or the genital organ of the male Wallgo. In that testis, the testes are a pair of elongated creamy white structures broad in the middle and gradually narrowing towards the end and curve at outer borders. The testes run parallel to each other on the ventral side of the air bladder and posterior kidneys, to which they are attached by the mesocranium. These are attached to each other closely. Now here this is the TS through the testes. Okay, testis, TS is here. In that testis we will knows that there is a spermatogenesis process will be takes place in a testes. This spermatogenesis will be having the which will form that the primary spermatocytes to the secondary spermatocytes. In here there is a spermatogonia is present in that cells. In that testes we will seen here the outer covering which will called as a wall of the testes. They form that the spermatid, as well as in that whole process of the TS through that the kidney there will be the in that the formation of that the sperm. This process will be followed or the called as the spermatogenesis. Okay, in that spermatogenesis there is the formation of that the sperm. Here the testes become larger during the breeding season and are full of spermatic fluid before spawning and become reduced to tender standards after spawning. The testes are divided into lobes by transverse fissures which will run inward from the outer margins. The lobes are produced into a finger shape or a feathery process towards the borders. Now the spermatozoa from the testes which will pass into delicate vasa efferentia which unite to form slender tubular vas deferens towards the posterior end of which the testes and which will run posteriorly. Now the two vas deferentia unite below the urinary bladder to form the common genital duct. The common genital duct which will fuses with the bladder at its neck, forming the common urinogenital ducts which open at the pseudocopulatory papilla. The thick and muscular papillae is separated by a transverse septum into a dorsal urinary and the ventral genital passage. Now the septum terminates a short distance before the apex of the papillae, and the urinary and the genital ducts open in by a urinogenital apertures. Okay, the urinary and the genital ducts which will open in the urinogenital apertures. Okay, in that testes there will be the having the breeding season are full of the in that breeding season of the spawning of that the fish. The male fish having the full of spermatic fluid is present here and will be reduced to tender standards of to the in the stage of that the spawning. Okay, in next lecture we will see that the spawning habits and the structure of the eggs.